Hey everyone, Duke here, and today we are talking about how to complete one of the easiest and fastest lost sectors for this season, Skydock. This lost sector is in the EDZ and is a great one to farm for upgrading your Guardian ranks, as well as farming exotics that you may not have or want better rolls of. We're going to go over a complete walkthrough of the master version of this lost sector, while making notes along the way of the few differences there are on the legend version. Do note that I'd only personally recommend doing Master for the level 10 Guardian rank achievements, as the Legend version will be quite a bit faster, and the difference in drop rates are not significant enough to make up for that in terms of time efficiency. In terms of setup, your class and subclass are completely your choice. Do note that there are Solar and Strand Surge active, so you can get a 25% damage increase with these subclasses and weapons. While I didn't choose to run a Surging subclass, I did make sure to take advantage of the Solar Surge with 2 Solar weapons, those being Trustee and Cataclysmic, along with Arbalist. There are Unstoppable and Barrier champions in this lost sector, so you're going to want to make sure to have weapons or abilities that can deal with both. Note that technically your Scout, if you're using a Scout for Unstop, doesn't need to be Solar, as it is overcharged from the seasonal artifact anyway, and those damage boosts do not stack. I would also recommend something a little bit more bursty as your heavy, especially on Master. I tried running a machine gun as I'm loving how strong they are this season, but I found it a bit more annoying to kill Unstoppables than with my linear fusion rifle. I could also see a solar rocket doing well here, but I wanted to have a bit more ammo economy by using Cataclysmic with 4th times the charm. All in all, run what you're comfortable with, but I would definitely recommend a solar or strand heavy for that damage boost. Some mods I'd recommend for this setup are Solar Siphon to make some extra orbs with your solar weapons, Heavy Ammo Finder for more heavy ammo drops, Ashes to Assets for a bit more super energy, especially if running a more grenade-focused build, Firepower for orbs on grenade kills, Solar Reloader for faster reloads, at least 1 Solar Resist as you will be taking more damage from Solar in this lost sector, 2 Solar Weapon Surges to increase your solar weapon damage after picking up orbs, along with 1 Recuperation to instantly gain health when picking up an orb, and finally Bomber to get your grenades back when using class abilities, Proximity Ward to give you a shield on finishers, and Time Dilation to increase the length on your solar weapon damage buff. This lost sector is active today as of the day I'm making this video, but if you end up seeing this video later on in the season, there are multiple more chances to run this lost sector, and the schedule is shown on screen now. Also note that while each day will only have a certain piece of armor available from the lost sector, you can actually use this farm to get any exotic if you fill up your inventory with engrams. This is harder to do than in previous seasons, as you can only use Prime engrams and Eververse engrams now to do this, but if you do have full engrams in your inventory and get an exotic, it will instead go to your Postmaster as an engram, and can be then opened later. These engrams will then be turned into an armor piece for the current day's lost sector, so if you wanted a helmet for example, wait to open them until the current lost sector is dropping helmets. Getting into the lost sector itself, you're going to have an Unstoppable with you pretty much right away, along with a few other enemies. I would recommend trying to take down these other weaker enemies first, just so you're not getting shot by multiple things at the same time, but then you're going to need to deal with this Unstoppable. Do note that you do have a little bit of room in this first little kind of spawn area to back up if you need to, so definitely feel like you can if you need to. And you should be able to take him down within hopefully 2 stuns on Master. On Legend you might be able to just take him down in 1, and you're good to go. This drop down area is actually one of the more tricky parts in my experience on this lost sector, but if you just come over to the left a little bit and basically bait this Unstoppable towards you, it's not going to be nearly as bad. He can even jump up on top as well, because there's going to be a barrier as well behind him, and you don't want that barrier shooting you here, so that's why we're kind of staying more to the left side. Do note that if you're trying to go for the Flawless, I would play this a little bit more carefully, and I did kind of like jump back up to try to make sure I didn't die to him, but if you're not going for the Flawless, you can kind of just back up, don't have to be quite as safe, but just keep this in mind, you do need to do a Flawless Master 1 time for the level 10 Guardian rank, so you can take it a little bit slower there if you don't care as much. 1 death is not going to kill you depending on what's going on here, so don't worry about it as much in that case. But next we're going to go for the barrier. Barrier is going to be right in front of you. This barrier is pretty chill. The rest of this is not super bad. You're going to have a lot more range and room to deal with everything. This is actually the only barrier champion in this lost sector, so once you deal with him, it's just unstops and regular enemies and the boss. So deal with the barrier, take him down, you're good to go on barriers. The next section is just going to have a few more weaker enemies. On Master, there will be another Unstoppable around this corner that you're going to need to deal with. On Legend, this Unstoppable does not exist, so there will be no Unstoppable. Again, note that you have plenty of room behind you and can back up plenty of space if you want to or need to deal with this Unstop. You don't need to necessarily use Heavy depending on what you're using. For your loadout, I am using Heavy just to try to make it a little bit faster, take them down a little bit quicker. But again, you can back up way back if you need to here. You got plenty of space to kind of bait them and chase you down, and you'll be good to go. After taking down a few more weaker enemies, you'll be leading yourself into the boss room already. And the boss room, again, there's just going to be some weak enemies. There's going to be an unstop, and then, of course, the boss. I would recommend trying to take down as many of the weak enemies as you can pretty much right away. Again, I personally just don't like being shot by multiple targets. I like to kind of focus down what I need to. If and when this unstop starts pushing you, that's going to be your #1 target. It's the only thing that really is going to be super duper aggressive here. So if you see that unstop start pushing, kind of stop what you're doing, focus on that. Try to take it down, and other than that, again, you're going to be focusing down on all the other weaker enemies. Unstop decided to kind of run away here. He's kind of playing ring around the rosy, but he'll come back. Don't be impatient. You'll be good to go. Take him down, and the unstop is defeated. Again, next, there's just a few more weak enemies, kind of clean up the rest of those. And once all of the weak enemies are down, again, just take them all down, take your time, no pressure, no time pressure, really. You can go a little bit faster if you'd like to, or if you're going for flawless, or if you just don't really want to die, take your time. And also be on the lookout for orbs here. If you can pick up any orbs, that's going to allow you to kind of kill and do damage to the boss a little bit faster. So keep that in mind as well. Definitely want to pick those up for the surges, but if you don't have any orbs, no big deal. But once everything is dead, we've almost got everything down here. Got one more enemy. You're going to want to go up to the top left where that Scion just was. That's going to make a really easy angle on this boss, and you can start taking him down. Again, if you have extra heavy, take him down faster. I'm trying to get the bait and switch to proc here and get a little bit more damage. If not, you can just use primary. It's going to take longer, of course. But as soon as you see that champion appear, it's going to be a little bit before you get the boss to half. I like to back up again, make sure to deal with all the new set of ads that comes in. You get another unstop, you get a whole nother set of ads here. Again, on Legend, this unstop is not going to exist. There will not be this second unstop, so you don't have to worry about that. You can still take the ads down if you want when they spawn in at this point, but you can probably play it and just kind of YOLO a bit more on the Legend versus the Master. But on Master here, I like to back up into this room, take down the unstop just like I did the first one, and then you'll kind of go back and repeat what you did the first time, take out any remaining ads that may be around here, and then go back on the top left and finish off the boss. So again, we're back at the top left here. The boss is about 2/3 HP. Supers, if you got them, just take them down faster. You don't need it really for any specific reason. You don't have to hold it. Nothing more really is going to spawn here. So take down all the remaining enemies. Go ahead and just chip the boss. Again, we're out of heavy at this point, basically, so we're just kind of taking them down slowly with our Solar Scout, which is doing 25% more damage than normal. We do have some Arbalist. We could obviously use that as well. We can use our nades. Just little by little, chip them down, and you will have this Lost Sector completed. And that's all for today. I hope this guide to the Skydock Lost Sector was helpful towards farming out some exotics and or just trying to get your Guardian rank levels up, as I know a lot of people have been talking about that as well. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.